and I wanted to show you Slice and Dice. This game I've been playing for quite a bit during 2022. Might be my game of the year, maybe between that and Rift Wizard, which I played earlier in the year. It's a perfect mobile game. It's got, as you can see on the title screen, if you look closely, it's got gorgeous pixel art. It's really crunchy, tactical, brain burner kind of combat. It's similar to Into the Breach and Slay the Spire in that you know exactly what the monsters are going to do to you, so you can plan around it, which feels kind of like a paradigm shift in games like the last couple of years, and this one really exemplifies that kind of style. So I don't think I really liked it at first, or when I first saw it, I wasn't sure if I'd like it, because the whole concept is it looks like the characters are dice in a way, but that's kind of like, if I think of it more like abstracted, you just see dice representing the character's attacks, and it makes more sense. It's just kind of weird that there's a play field that shows the dice rolling. So I've unlocked everything in the game just by recently. Well, I moved from playing on Android mostly to on PC, and so I went in and found the option for unlocking everything, which is always appreciated because I didn't want to have to. I think you have to play each difficulty to get, or at least maybe it unlocks up to hard, and then you have to unlock the higher difficulties. You have to beat each difficulty, and then there's so many different unlocks and achievements and whatnot. But let's get into first. I reset the tutorial. Let's just take a look at the tutorial and see how the game works. Sure. So, the first thing is that depending on the difficulty level, you get to choose a set of curses, which are bad, and blessings, which are good. Blessings are in green outlines. The curses are in purple outlines. And basically, you have a certain number of curses. Each curse has a value, or each blessing has a value, and each difficulty level lets you basically get a sum total of blessings and curses. I don't know if that really makes sense. Basically, in this heaven, this is way, way, way easy. You get 20 points. It's almost like negative 20 points of curses, or you could think of it like 20 points of blessings. So, for instance, I could go 9. That's adding up to, going up to my total. But if I go and select a curse, it goes back down because curses are taking me in the opposite direction. So I need to choose 20 points of blessings. So we have monster single use. We'll see in a little bit. You have each enemy and each character has is represented by a die basically, and each face is a certain attack or ability. And usually you can reuse those, but this would make it so the enemies can only use each one of their faces one time. Um, I'm not super pumped about that, but that's fine. Very importantly, you start out, there's spells in the game, and you always start out with one called Burst. Wow, there's it's kind of realizing it's difficult to explain this game from the ground up, so maybe I'll just jump into it and show it off. So I'm gonna just select 3 blessings. Let's not worry about too much about what they are. Okay, so you see that the tutorial is telling you what's going on. It's telling you to re-roll your dice. So first, your dice are your set of 5 characters, which each is represented by a die, and you can click on PC. I think you have to right click on each one to see what the die looks like. So they can for instance, Squire has these 6 faces. The simplest one to explain, let's say, is the shield, so it can block 1 damage. Let's look at the fighter. That's also simple. So that has the sword is a basic attack. You see pips. The pips are the value of the attack. So there's one value attack, 2 value attack, 1 value shield. Typically, the best faces are on the left-hand side of the dice. Not always. And yeah, we have these kind of almost different These are different classes which you can upgrade later, and they're almost in like different categories. So like the orange one always does a kind of similar thing. Yellow is typically like a fighter. Gray is typically like a defender. Then you have you have like a healer and kind of like a mage class. I guess this one is supposed to be like a rogue or something like that. And then we have enemies. Enemies also are just as complicated. So I think that maybe that's one of the things that overwhelmed me too when I first played the games. I thought that every time you see a new enemy, they have like some different weird ability. But actually, as you play, it's not really that complicated. So, for instance, this Null has a few things going on. It has armor, so even though it has 3 HP, I can't just do 3 damage to it because each attack I do is one. The one armor blocks 1 damage. So typically, I would have to do like 2 damage, 2 damage, 2 damage just to kill it, which is a lot of damage, even though it doesn't have a lot of HP. It has a crazy attack here, a 6 damage attack, but it also has a Zert. This typically comes on here, and that just means that next turn it'll get replaced. All of its sides will get replaced with blanks, so it basically gets 1 turn to act and then 1 turn not to. Here's another example of a different keyword: 5 damage, heavy. Heavy. They have to target the enemy, meaning my characters with the highest HP. That's kind of a pain when you have this keyword, and these are also heavy, just different values. And also they say single use. I think that goes back to one of the blessing we took at first. So we have a null, and then we have a caw egg, and this one is usually scary because it is going to hatch potentially. Well, in this case, I know it. I'm seeing what it's going to do. It's this face right here with the white outline. It's going to summon a call, which is basically another monster, and that monster is actually pretty scary. For like floor 1. But there's also a chance you see for these Etzes just do nothing. So there's a lot of randomness in the game, definitely. I mean, the dice is in the name. It's a game about RNG, but like managing the RNG. And like, as you keep playing, you actually get to augment your dice and kind of try to change things to favor, so luck favors you basically. So we need to kill these people, these enemies, and we do so with their dice. So it's telling us to re-roll them. So we can do that by clicking on this button. And it shows us how many re-rolls we get. First, we get a roll, and then if we don't like it, we can roll all or just some of them. If we like some of them, we can lock them in like this, then re-roll the other ones. So I would actually probably, maybe I take a look at what I have and see if I like any of it. So for instance, like in this case, this 1 mana single use, I see that my character also has a 2 mana single use, 3 mana single use, so maybe I could reroll to get a better value. And this is a good one, this like hand icon. What's interesting to me is that although there's like amazing pixel art, for some reason, and I guess there's just not enough space, like these skills don't have names, which is fine. It's just like slightly odd. So in this case, this icon or this ability redirects everything from another character to this character, and then they self-shield for whatever the value is, typically 2, which is a great kind of like defender, thing. So I'm going to leave that, and I'm going to re-roll. And the tutorial's happy with this. I don't know if I'm going to go through everything in all the keywords. That would really slow it down. But just go through the tutorial and see. I'm going to re-roll again because nobody likes Etzes, but I got another one. That's fine. Now it's telling us to click on a hero, so that's very simple. Another confusing thing about the game at first, at least it was to me, is I didn't quite get the concept of mana and how these spells work. But basically, you're like pumping out mana, and then you can use it for these spells, which show their cost down here. So this one, Burst, costs 2, Bandage costs 2. You can right-click to see what they do. Actually, all these spells cost 2. And also, you have a limit, or like a max pull size of 3. So, for instance, I can generate 3 this turn. If I generated more, it would get like, it wouldn't roll over to the next turn, basically. Only 3 would. I can use this ability to target the initiate and redirect that damage, and my squire is still going to live. Probably the most brilliant part about this game, absolutely genius, and I don't know if another game did it. This is the first time I can recall seeing it. Is these just the way it handles, for instance, HP. There's a lot of brilliant UI elements, like you see like exactly which monsters are attacking by right clicking, or I can click here, or I can click on this and see who all is attacking me. I see the shield, but the yellow tells me like the incoming damage, and if it goes past the HP you have, you get like a plus, like +1 if it's going to be all my HP +1. And that just very quickly gives you a summary of like what's going to happen. Whereas I feel like most of these games that are somewhat similar, asking you to do these calculations for you, or not expecting you to do them, you're just kind of playing by the seat of your pants. So, what else can we do? We can, I would say in this case, we would try to kill the caw egg because it's going to spawn another monster. And we can use burst. Burst will do 2 damage or 2 shield. Oh, it also does cleave because of the blessing I have, which is amazing. Cleave burst. Yeah, that so cleave will hit the adjacent enemies. Or it also, some defensive abilities or healing abilities have cleave too, so you can hit like 3 of your people or 3 of their people. So if I do this, I will also do 1 damage to him because he blocked 1. And then that's about all I can do. Now I could also, interestingly, this is a great thing about this game too, and it really helps you learn the game. So even though some of it might seem overwhelming, you can just experiment, you can just try things out. I love that. So I can just undo like everything I just did. I'm just going to redo it real quick, but just to show you, like I can just redo all that or do something different. And I'm happy with that, so I'm just going to intern. Oh, and there's another mechanic where the enemies, if they have low HP, there's a certain formula to calculate it, they will actually flee. I think when you first start the game, you can choose whether or not you let them flee, which has no consequence. I guess it's just kind of like a morality question. You know, do you like, is it like take no prisoners or not? But then you can just check a box to say auto flee, which, you know, why not? This is not really a story-based game whatsoever, as far as I can tell. There's, to my knowledge, there's like no lore. I mean, the art is very, and the names are sometimes very suggestive and evocative, but so we now get to upgrade a character. So we have the Spellblade, and you see it's upgrading the Scoundrel, or we can upgrade our Splint character into a Vampire. And a little bit overwhelming when you first start because you're constantly getting thrown upgrades, which feels good, but also you're like, what does this do? What does this do? And then they have like spells as well. So like in addition to all the die faces, this character will have like, for instance, imbue. It has single cast, but I can +1 to a target's damage sides. That's really good actually. Heal 2 to all allies. One thing I'll get into later is that from the balance perspective, at least the way it is now, or maybe it's my play style, I tend to feel like there's basically 3 basic types of things you can do. You can attack, you can heal, and you can shield, right? There's a bunch of other things you can do, I guess, but those are like the bread and butter, right? Attack is actually, offensive is the best defense in this game because if you kill things, they go away. And even in this case, this is a very interesting case. Even though I'm choosing this upgrade, I can go ahead and look at what I'm going to be fighting. So these goblins have this little flag icon, and I know I'm going tangent after tangent, but I just have to stop and say, like, look at the art. Just appreciate how this pixel art is like so maximally efficient. These little HP pips are 3x3 pixels. It's a 3x3 image. Amazing. And these flags, this is like looks like a 5x5 or something. I mean, just really great work. I mean, it looks simple, but some of the stuff that's done, there's just so much talent on display. And I think this is a project by like 2 people, which is really cool. Like 1 artist and 1 dev, as far as I can tell. So anyway, the goblin who has this white flag, they will run away if they're the last one standing. So if I kill if I kill the archer and I kill 1 goblin, the other goblin will run away. And so what that means is like I can I can kill one guy and ignore his damage, and then I can, ignore another guy's damage because he just ran away. So damage, damage, damage is like all I'm thinking about. It's for the most part. I also want to keep my characters alive because if they die, I'm losing some damage output, and also they will get revived next turn, but they'll come back at like half health, which is um, kind of like the only permanent carryover floor to floor. Um, for the most part, there's also items and things, but like that's kind of like the if you're playing poorly, that's what's going to carry over. But then, so we have attack, right? Shield and healing. And second, I would actually favor shielding because you can block the damage before it ever comes in. Whereas if someone's full HP, you can't heal them, obviously. So healing kind of goes on the back burner. There's some interesting stuff where there's like vitality healing, where you can heal them hot, you can raise their max HP. That's really powerful. That's just as good as shielding. And what I guess where the game starts to get interesting is like all these different keywords together. So we have like the basic mana, we have a big heal, that's simple, but then we have like attack and heat and self heal, and then we come up here and this one's a little bit more complicated. We have poison, um, that has a self shield. I think that's yes, that's because of this blessing that we have adds to our middle face. Each middle face adds a self shield, which is pretty nice. And we also have like a 1 damage copycat. I actually was having a discussion with someone about um, they didn't think Spellblade was well balanced, and but most people like it. So yeah, I guess you can think about that. I don't usually get excited about it, just seeing the one pip values, but it can have some powerful combos. Um, okay, so none of this really matters because I'm on like the crazy easy difficulty, but I like vampire actually. Just that, come on, it's vampire. Okay, so there's also items. We don't have any. Let's just see if we can get past the tutorial. Reroll 2 dice only. Okay, fine. Um, ooh, I love this one. This is one of my favorites. Might be one of the most powerful things in the game. Vulnerability, or vulnerable. Basically, target takes +1 damage from dice and spells. So I attack a target, and everything after that, they're going to take an extra damage. Uh, so you can see this only has 2 faces, but these are both pretty powerful attacks. I'll re-roll these. Okay, it's happy with that. I really don't care. I don't think this is too hard. Whoa. Um, I don't think I see this in the tutorial. This must be new. 8 out of 10 HP. Um, I don't even know what that means. I don't know how to get it back either. Um, okay. It went away, but that's... I think I understand everything about this game. It was just a little odd. Okay, so now I'm going to... I get to do 3 damage instead of just 2 because of the vulnerable. I can kill this guy. Oh, yeah, so I will probably want to try to save him. And I can tell I can save him because 4 damage is incoming from here. And if I block 4 damage, he'll have 1 HP left. So that's a pretty good option. And then actually don't... Oh, it's because Burst has Cleave and it killed the archer. Okay, it took me a second to figure out what actually happened. Which sometimes happens in this game when you have a bunch of new curses and blessings. Okay, every second, or like let's say starting with level 2, you get a character upgrade every 2 levels. And starting with level 3, you get a item upgrade, or you get a new item every 3 levels. Items is really where the game starts to like blow up with combos and such, but it does feel a little bit... I mean, I kind of have a love-hate relationship with this feature because it's very like you can do very wild stuff and very powerful stuff, and it's very fun like reorganizing your dice. Basically, you can modify your dice. So, for instance, this will add my 2 right sides. It'll add an X, which could get rid of something I have, but then it could add something. And sometimes the ads are actually good, surprisingly, because you could have something imposed on you that's bad that you don't want to roll in certain cases, and you get rid of it this way. So you're doing this weird like layering, like rearranging the dice. Um, there's also, as you can see, like there's a predictable pattern of like what item level you get. So you get like the first item you get will be level 1, obviously, and I think it goes all the way up to like 9 typically. Could go higher in some cases. And then you're also sometimes offered like another choice if you want to roll the dice and get something. This is always for me, feels like a bad decision, because if I get a random tier 0 or tier 2 and these are tier 1 items, 0 is usually absolutely terrible. 2 would be great, but it's just going to feel so bad if I get something that's worthless. Revive is powerful, so maybe we'll just go with that. And we'll put that, would be good on someone that doesn't have anything in that slot, which is just this character scoundrel. Yeah, I don't know if I'm done with the tutorial. Maybe I am. Let's just see if we can get past this floor and see if it tells me anything else. Okay, well, I don't want to revive. Monsters show their intentions and you get to respond. Incoming damage is shown in yellow. Yes, very cool tutorial. Very cool. Okay, so I guess I can just pop that up. And these guys, these thorns are really annoying. You can't attack them with spells, and they do 5 damage when they are attacked with a melee attack. So really, like, the best way to take care of them is with a ranged attack. Which doesn't really make a lot of sense how you could use a bow and arrow against a thorn, but I don't know. I'm not going to ask questions. Okay, so yeah, so it's frustrating because the mana is not really going to do anything for us. We really just want damage and maybe some block, so we can block some of that damage coming at us. Okay, so this should take care of one of these guys, and maybe we can... wow, that was a really bad roll. Maybe I can... So I'll redirect all the damage. Wow, he took a lot. And he fleed. Perfect. But, ooh, favorite character? Statue. Looks terrible at first. Is not, because you can add items to it. And really good combo here would be... I have this... oh, I'm trying to drag from the wrong place. You have this revive potion, and the statue has 20 HP, so I could potentially get an have this be like the last man standing and revive other people, which is pretty cool. Annoyingly, we're facing the bramble, which makes every one of our faces single use. This is, in my opinion, one of the more annoying monsters to face. But that's okay. This mode should be really easy. Ooh, that cleave is so good. You have to excuse me, I have a little bit of a cold I'm trying to get over. Let's see. Yeah, I'll re-roll that. Try to get one of these swords. Oh, if there is a skull on the end turn button, a hero is about to die. That's also a nice, very nice touch. I don't even know if I typically look at it. I think I just look on the left. But, yeah, so for instance, I would probably want to block here. Either block or kill this guy, maybe? I guess I'll just kill this guy. Kind of one of the strategies I like to use is if I don't need to, always saving the 3 mana I have, because it gives me the flexibility on the next turn to, like, there's no reason to go ahead and use it typically, unless I can kill a monster. If I'm just going to do a little bit of damage, I could just do that damage on the next turn. Okay, so I just need one more, yeah, and then I can tell that this is going to be lethal because I need to do 4 damage. I can do 1, 2, and burst for 3 and 4. And I love the fire animation. I think something similar was done in like Doom, original Doom or something. It's kind of like a very simple thing, but it looks great. All right, now we have, oh, I really like longbow. Put that on. See, now we can put that on the statue. Now the statue is doing stuff, like actual damage. Looks great. Let's see. I still don't know if I'm going through the tutorial or not. I will give it one more level, and if it doesn't give me any tips or anything, I'm going to skip ahead. Oh, so this enemy has poison. It's not really a big concern because my statue has so much HP, but poison is definitely scary in this game. And I think it kind of got worse because you used to be able to remove it a lot easier. I guess we can just kill the snake, so it's fine. The Slimer has abilities or a property where whenever you hit one of these plus sign HPs or HP pips, it summons another monster called a Slimelet, which is not that scary. But then there's a Slime Queen that summons one of these when it gets hit. You know, it just kind of, it slimes all the way down. Okay. I like this ability where you take pain. So my vampire will take 1 damage, but it will grant 1 HP, 1 max HP to all the other characters. So I can save the initiate. There's also, I probably won't even get to it soon, but there's some really cool rescue mechanics. There's actually a keyword called rescue, but just in general, the concept of like, you know your character's going to die. Sometimes if it's going to die and you save them, you get rewarded. And beyond that, it's just awesome. Oh, save a hero from dying by healing them. Yes. Ding. There we go. I guess maybe at this point it's actually looking for me to do certain things. Or certain situations to arise. So, I like this guy. And the Gambler. Everybody likes the Gambler. 5 damage. That's kind of tough. Oh, that's kind of tough. Like this guy. Okay, so I think I'm going to stop there. This is Slice and Dice. Yeah, like, if you don't have it, it's, I think, $7. You can grab it on PC or Android. I mean, just, this is probably one of the best, if you want to call it a roguelite or roguelike, I don't really care. If you like dice, if you like these really like brain burner, a little bit on the puzzly side type games, if you like something where you have to really stop and think, the higher difficulty levels are wild, and that's what I'm going to try to get into in the next video.